today. Let's start with part one. So, Natalia, I'm going to turn on the microphone for you. And we're going to talk about the weather. Okay. While you're turning on the microphone, some examples of vocabulary about the weather. So, hello, Natalia, can you say something?
Okay, hello. How are you?
I'm fine. What about you?
Thanks.
Right. So, some topical vocabulary about the weather: hot, warm, pleasantly warm, searing heat, sunny, a draft when it's dry, засуха, sunshine. Well, maybe you can also say, for example, arid climate. Arid, засушливый, that's another expression that is not very common. Okay. When it's raining a lot, when it's raining heavily, you can say, I got soaking wet. So there's get soaking wet, and get very wet. Get soaking wet. Or you can say get soaked to the skin. Get soaked to the skin. Right, and then when it's проливной дождь, that's torrential rain. That's another expression. That is high example of high band vocabulary. So, Natalia, do you like hot weather?
Well, frankly speaking, I adore hot weather because in the place where I live, the average summer temperature is something near 35 degrees above zero. So our summers are extremely hot, and you can really get wet, soaking wet, and in summer there is no raining cats and dogs. Droughts are often in my region, but as for the winter, maybe they are extremely hot. Oh, sorry, cold. I think 25 minus 25 degrees. It's okay during winter.
Okay, so you can also say hot and sticky about when it's very hot in summer. You can say that it's hot and sticky. Okay, what's the weather like now in Volgograd, right? You're from Volgograd, as far as I remember.
If I'm not mistaken, minus 8 degrees. Not very cold. Not sticky cold. Okay. Sorry, it's only sticky and hot.
Yes.
Not freezing
yes.
cold. Okay, not freezing cold, but it's rather snowy, and we have opportunity to ski very often this winter.
Okay, what do you do in hot weather?
Certainly, we go swimming to the rivers. We like boating and sunbathing.
Okay, so in the chat there are some examples of what you can do in hot weather. Would you like to visit a hot country?
Oh, why not? I think that any journey is rather interesting, and countries with hot climate are interesting for me, at least from the point of its nature. Birds, animals, exotic animals are really interesting for me.
Okay, right. Can you mention any exotic animals or plants that would be beneficial for your lexical resource?
Parrots, kangaroos, pandas. What else?
So if you mention parrots, you can also mention a budgie, волнистый попугайчик. Right. A budgie, a cockatoo, that can be mentioned here as well. And okay.
Monkeys, elephants, lions, tigers.
Yes, but they are simple examples of vocabulary. Because lions and tigers, you learn them in elementary school.
Rhinoceros.
Yes, it's much better. Rhinoceros, or rhino for short. Oh, hummingbird, maybe something like this. Okay, there was one more new question about the weather. Just let me find it. So you can also mention here that you don't like hot and when the climate is hot and sticky, but you prefer when it's moderately hot. So this expression, moderately hot, умеренно, might be mentioned here if you wish. Okay. So would you? Well, it's loading. As far as I remember, is would you like to visit a wet country? I might be wrong. Maybe it's not a real question, but let's try to answer this while it's loading.
No, I can't stand a wet country. I can't imagine me when it's pouring and when it's raining cats and dogs from morning till evening. It is nasty, it is cold, it is wet, and it's really uncomfortable for me. When your shoes got soaking wet and when you can't dry your clothes. But in summer I prefer to boat, and sometimes it's in the Urals, and they can be rather wet, and I can find myself wet from early morning till early evening, and it's okay, in fact, from time to time,
right.
But not always.
When you say it is, yes, when you say it is wet, you shouldn't say there is. You can say there is and a noun, but when it's wet, it can be quite wet, or it can be rather wet, or quite, yes, rather wet. Okay, and try not to repeat the keyword in the question. So if you are asked about wet, try to paraphrase it with damp, сырой, or humid, влажный, something like this. Okay, I was wrong. The question is slightly different, so maybe you'll want to repeat some of the ideas. Do you like wet weather?
No, I hate wet. I hate humid weather because it's nasty and my organism can't stand it. It wants to sleep from morning till evening and can't get up, and I can't force myself to go to work.
Okay, there is a very good band 8 or higher vocabulary item. It's soporific. Soporific is something that makes you sleep. It's not very commonly used. Yeah, you can say that. Well, it is soporific. When it rains, it is soporific. It makes me sleep, or makes me sleepy, or it makes some people irritable. All right, good. So, Natalia, did you prepare a part 2 card for today?
Yes, that was a history period.
Okay. History period. Okay, right. Thank you. So we'll talk to you in the next round.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. So, Vitaly, I'm going to turn on the microphone for you. But it seems like I can't. Okay, now it works. And we're going to talk about traveling or holidays. Hello, Vitaly, can you say something?
Hello. Yes, I can hear.
Okay, so let's revise some examples of vocabulary. So you can say a journey, a vacation, baggage, luggage, then a suitcase, insurance, destination, or a flight. Destination is the place where you're going. A tourist, a holidaymaker, a trip, an excursion. That's what you can say. Okay, and something else. You can also say attractions to go sightseeing. These are examples of vocabulary. So, Vitaly, do you like traveling?
Talking about traveling, I'm fond of traveling because traveling give me relaxing, and also it's important for me is recharge my mind. It's helped me in it. And on top of that, traveling make you thinking different. Moreover, I would like to say that traveling let me, as also my friends, let's have meeting.
Okay, gives us an opportunity to meet. All right. Do you like traveling long distances?
It's a difficult question for me, but I believe I'm fond of traveling for long distance. Firstly, I think it's very useful for my health, because running and walking let us feel better, and also improve health of the body. On top of that, traveling for long distance let us, I mean my friend, me and my friends, see different sightseeings. By the way.
Okay. Right. In which season do you prefer to travel?
In which sea?
In which you can see it in the chat. In which season do you prefer to travel?
Which season? Okay. Talking about season, I prefer summer, because a main reason of it is each summer I have holidays, and I before planning my holidays, and I would like to say that summer, I believe that summer is the best for me. The best season for relaxing, because talking about me, I am fond of warm season.
Okay. So would you say your country is a good place for tourists to visit?
It's a very difficult question for me, because everybody has different hobbies, and also places for relaxing. I mean, visit sightings, plays in different games, visit concerts. But talking about my country don't let have these things, because my country is has not a lot of sightings and places for visiting. to my mind.
Okay, my country doesn't let. When you say country, don't forget S. Like my country lets, my country doesn't let. Okay, so for others, when one person is speaking, I also write some ideas in the chat. Well, for Vitaly right now, it's difficult to read and speak at the same time, but if you, so for others, you can also learn some useful expressions for these topics. Okay, do you often travel by plane?
To tell the truth, I'm afraid of plane because I believe that it's very dangerous, and if you have a dangerous situation, you will have escape. And really, I'm afraid of it. But when if I have holidays, I usually take plane to visit different countries for holiday.
Okay, so you could mention if you travel very rarely, you could say that I do it once in a blue moon. Okay. And would you like to travel long distances more often in the future?
Repeat, please, because.
Would you like to travel long distances more often in the future?
Дальние дистанции больше, чем в будущем?
Yes, please look in the chat. Would you like to travel long distances more often in the future?
Difficult for me, but I believe that I like to travel long distances more often in the future. Firstly, it's very.
The fact that.
I think, as I understand this question, I believe that it's very useful for health of everybody, and also let us thinking different and working.
Okay. What was the most Okay, continue.
And as I understand, walking is very useful for health. I mean walking, but maybe I don't understand this. Don't understand this question.
Okay. So, what was the most impressive trip in your life?
Impressive trip. Okay. Talking about the most impressive trip in my life, when I was younger, I did kickboxing and visited different countries, because I took part in different championship and competitions. And when I was younger, I visited Thailand for training and took part different championship, as I said, and on top of that, I'm fond of culture these countries, and this trip. I remember this trip until this time. Because, as I said, I was younger and was very impressive of this trip. As I said, I don't know until that time. I didn't know about Thailand, about its culture, about sightings. and moreover, it was my first trip. I mean, long distance.
Okay. And what was the first trip in your life?
First trip, I said, okay. First trip in my life was visiting Turkey with my friends. It was absolutely wonderful because firstly I'm fond of sea. I mean clear sea. On top of that, talking about this trip, I visited different sightings. Talk about me, I'm fond of sightings, and if I have opportunity, I usually visit in different sightings. Even it is very expensive.
Mhm.
Oh.
Okay. So where do you plan to travel next?
Talking about my plan to travel next, I'm going to visit Italy because I read about this country a lot of, and I decided to visit this country next summer with my friends. Because firstly, why my friends with me visiting these countries. This is important because my friend lives in this country and know places for visiting, which will be more beautiful and interesting. And talking about last summer, last year he was he constantly was inviting me for visiting this country.
Okay, right. So, Vitaly, did you prepare? Have you prepared a part 2 topic for today?
Lion.
Sorry,
lion. Term lion. Describe. Describe situation when describe a time when someone did not tell you the complete truth.
Okay, telling a lie. This will be the topic. Okay.
Yeah, that's
so yes. All right. So we'll talk to you in the second round about this. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay. So, Ekaterina and Elena, last lesson we had problems with the microphone. So, Ekaterina, today I want to try to turn on the microphone for you. You will receive an invitation. Please accept it. And the topic that we're going to talk about in this part it's also part 1 question, and we are going to talk about transportation. Once again, I will try to turn on the microphone for you. Okay, so Ekaterina, there seem to be some problems. Please write in the chat if you are ready to speak or you have some problems. Yelena, I will try to turn on the microphone for you now. While we're trying to turn on the microphone, some examples of topical vocabulary for this topic. Public transit, mass transit, a lane, cycle track, or cycle lane is sometimes called. A roundabout, this is like a crossroads that is round. You can actually move roundabout. An intersection, traffic lights, transport. I'm writing these expressions in the chat. This is also that can be mentioned when you're talking about this. So types of transport or modes of transport to shorten transport time is the expression. Transport length, to commute, means to travel from the suburbs to the city and then back. Okay. So we're waiting for Yelena or Ekaterina to join us. The first question that they ask in part 1 is, are there any traffic problems in your area? So are there any traffic problems in your area? And well, what you could mention is, of course, traffic jams, or you can mention traffic congestions, which is a synonym, or you could say the perpetual bumper-to-bumper traffic. It means that you travel and you will drive for some time and then you stop, then you drive again, then you stop. Peak period traffic volumes are increasing year by year. This is an expression you can use. Or you could say roads are heavily congested. Yes, Yelena, sure, I'll try. Okay, there are bags, образовавшиеся пробкой из-за остановки одного автомобиля. Tailbacks on the main roads or in the city center. So, Yelena, can you say something?
Hello? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Oh. Yes, very well. So, please try to answer the question. It's part 1 IELTS speaking. So, about 3 sentences. If you can say something else, please do say it. Try to use not only simple vocabulary, but some expressions, something like what I write in the chat, and try to use different grammar, not just present simple, present or past simple. So, are there any traffic problems in your area?
I think there is nothing traffic problems in my area, at least nothing big problems. I never deal with it, and my nears and dears too. So I have nothing to say about it. Of course, I can tell about roads, but
okay.
but it's so usual. Usual deal.
Okay. What I want to tell you in IELTS, yes, it's yes. Okay, Katerina, so when you're ready, please let us know in the chat, and I'll try to turn on the microphone for you at that time. Yelena, when you take the IELTS speaking exam, what is evaluated, not your ability to produce original ideas, but it's your ability to speak using different vocabulary and different grammar constructions. And it's okay. I mean, you don't have even to, if you say, are there any traffic problems? You can say, no, there are no traffic problems, because in my area, bus service runs like clockwork. We have got wonderful transport infrastructure and an extensive network of trains and buses. But if you want to talk about problems like roads, you can mention a word, for example, deteriorate. It means, I've written this in the chat, it means that the roads have become worse. And your task in IELTS, well, luckily, we know the questions before the exam. Well, it's quite secret information, but we know them. So we can prepare some specific vocabulary in advance. And it's better to use it. If you can talk about road problems, and you know some expressions for this, that would be very good for your score in the exam. So, how would you improve transport in your town or area?
Can you repeat?
Yes, sure. How would you improve transport in your town or area?
Oh, I think we need more buses in our town and more summer buses between our town and near villages. And will be not bad to have some condition in bus in summer.
Okay, right. So I've written some expressions. If you like them, you can use them in the future answers. It is absolutely imperative that, and use something be done, or something should be done. It would be great if you could also use a conditional sentence. And you can mention expressions like to tackle traffic problems, to mitigate traffic congestion means to make it smaller, to combat congestion, to fight with traffic jams, to increase carrying capacity of the road. This is what could also be mentioned, if you wish. You don't have to, of course. It's just a variant. So, how would you reduce traffic problems in your area?
Reduce.
Reduce means to make smaller, yes? To reduce means to make smaller, right?
Yes, I know, but I haven't an idea.
How would you reduce? All right.
Hello?
Okay, so for example, you can build some ring road. Yes, can you hear? So for instance, you can build some ring roads, or you could forbid public transport, private transport in the city center. These are possible ideas. And you can also just, like in the first question, you said there are no problems in your city. You could just say something like, well, I don't know what to say, just say it in a passive way, all right? So, one more question. How do you think public transport could be improved?
Can you hear me? Hello? People?
Yes, I can. Yes, I can. And can you?
Yes, I think. Can you repeat the question?
So, how?
Oh, I see. Yes,
well, how do you think public transport could be improved?
We're talking about only city transport or all transport, including trains, planes, and other.
It's up to you. You can talk about whatever you want.
Well, I think city buses will be more constant, and I don't know. I think it would be enough for my town, and I would like to plan between cities. Will be more more cheap, not so big cost.
Okay, you can say more affordable. It's better than say cheaper. Or here's an expression that I would recommend for everyone. It is exorbitant prices. It's a very good example of vocabulary. Грабительские цены, exorbitant prices. So you can say that blanket prices, prices are exorbitant now, and I would like them to be more affordable. So exorbitant, this is like band 8 vocabulary item. You often have to speak about something that is expensive or cheap. So when it's cheap, you say, luckily we don't have exorbitant prices. When it's expensive, you can say, we have exorbitant prices, or you can say, it costs a pretty penny, влетает в копеечку. It costs a pretty penny. Or you could say, it costs an arm and a leg. It's a British expression. An arm and a leg. Or alternatively, you can say, it costs a fortune. Стоит целое состояние. All right. So these are expressions to talk about how expensive or and you have to раскошелиться, to shell out. To shell out, or you can say to fork out. To fork out. So right. Is driving to work popular in your country?
You mean driving to work in personal transport or in public?
Yes, yes, yes. No, driving as a driver in personal car.
I think it's really popular in my country, especially in last, I think, 20 years. But I'm I'm not a driver. I can't drive, so I go to my work in public bus.
Okay. So, do you prefer public transportation or private transportation?
I think private transportation will be better, especially if the driver is someone who I know. For example, my father.
Okay, wonderful. Right. So, do you have a list of part 2 questions? Did I give you this list?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so then after the lesson, I will send it to you. And every lesson, for every lesson, I ask students to prepare a monologue. This is one of the 55 part 2 cards. These are exactly the cards that are used in part 2 over the world in the IELTS exam from January until April. So let's choose one. Here you can see, and also right, and Ekaterina, for you, it's also, you also can choose one top out of these. So in the screen, you can see activity that is healthy. You can talk about this if you wish. Describe an activity that you do to keep healthy. You should say activity is, when and where you usually do it, how you do it, and how it helps you to keep healthy. Or if you want, you can say talk about something you wanted to do but do not have time for. So describe the situation when you didn't have enough time. You should say when it was, where you, what you tried to do to finish, and why you didn't have time for it. And let's have a look at one more. Something you do to work and study better. Describe something you do regularly that helps you and study better. You should say what it is, when and where you would do it, how you would do it, and why you want to do it. So can you choose 1, 2, or 3?
2.
Number 2. Okay. So while other people are talking, you can prepare for this. Please, or maybe copy, or I will just send you by email. I will send some materials for this topic quickly.
I can't.
Then you can just look at these expressions that. Okay. So I will send you some materials by email so that you can.
Should I write my email here?
There will be some expressions on this topic. No, but I think I have it. You wrote to me yesterday.
Oh.
That's Zania and E, right? Mail.ru. Is it right?
Yes, yes.
Is it correct email? Okay, so I have sent you. You can check it, and in the second round, I will ask you to speak on this topic. Right. So now I will turn off the microphone for you, and when it's your turn to speak next, you can talk about something you wanted to do but but didn't have enough time for. Right, thank you, Elena. Okay, now you can, let's try to on your microphone once again. It doesn't seem to work. Let's try once more. Okay. So now, Natalia, I will ask you to tell us about a history period. So,
Okay. Can I start?
yes. So, we're ready to listen to your story. Yes, sure.
Okay. I'm going to talk about the beginning of the 20th century and exactly about the Second World War. Facts tells us about bloody conflict that involved all the nations in the world, and a shocking number of people were killed during this conflict. That is about 25 million people in Russia and more than 50 million people in other countries. And if you traveled one day along Russia, you wouldn't find any city or town without a monument to the fallen fighters of the Second World War. And my city is not an exception. Volgograd is known as Stalingrad. It used to be it used to name Stalingrad during the Second World War, and it was the turning point.
Okay, Natalia, it seems like we can't hear you. Guess the connection might be, there's might be something wrong with the connection. I'll try to turn off the microphone and then turn it on again.
Okay.
Yes, yes, now we can hear you. So you said it was the turning point, then the sound disappeared. So can you continue from that place?
Okay, so Stalingrad battle was the turning point of the Second World War, and there are a lot of monuments to the fallen fighters in every city of our country, and maybe the best known in my city is Mamayev Hill. And I think that the horrendous loss of lives teaches us that resolving conflicts peacefully is much better than war. Um, so maybe that's all? No, that's not enough. Is that enough now?
Is this all? Okay.
Maybe yes.
Okay. Oh, yes, that would be enough. Absolutely. At the exam, you would be stopped here for sure. But I usually let students speak more, because if you have this topic at the exam, then you'll have use more ideas during the lesson, and then at the exam it will be easier for you. So
Okay,
some part 3 questions about history. How can people learn about history?
I think that a great amount of literature, documentary literature, scientific literature, science fiction, I think that masterpieces of art and music can can give information about any historical periods. So if you would like to learn more about some historical period, you may go to the library, read or listen some books. You may travel and or watch some and sightseeing and visit some monuments, maybe pieces of architecture and so on. That would give you a really unappreciated chance to understand more about any period of history of our world, but it depends on you to decide what period do you want to study, and then you should decide what country do you want to visit. I mean, it can be ancient Egypt.
Okay, so so will museums be replaced by technology someday?
Sorry, could you repeat, because there were some problems? Will the museums?
Okay. Will museums be replaced by technology someday?
No, I think absolutely no. But to my mind, in future, they will be combined by people. So technology and museum, and maybe museums will be added by technologies. I think that not will be, but they have already been unreached by different technologies, IT technologies, and I think that the process of visiting museums has become more interesting for all levels of visitors. I mean age for children and for teenagers and for elderly. Okay. Okay.
All right. Are history museums useful?
I think that they are extremely essential because due to historical museums, we can visualize any historical period and remember it better than just read some books. And visiting museums can
should museums be free?
Maybe no. I think
okay,
that
you can continue. I just the sound.
okay. I think that maybe no. Probably the prices should be more affordable, but not free, because museums are places for people who are interested in culture, and I think that they shouldn't be overcrowded.
Okay, right. So thank you, Natalia. That's all the questions that I have for this part. So we'll turn off the microphone. Vitaly, let's turn on the microphone for you. So the topic is lying. Describe a time someone you know did not tell you the complete truth. You should say what the situation was, who didn't tell you the whole truth, how you discovered the whole truth, and how you felt when you discovered the whole truth. This is the story. Oh, well, this is the task. Some expressions that could be used here. Okay, I'll try to turn on the microphone for Vitaly again. It didn't seem to work. So some expressions that can be used for this topic, it's to tell a lie, to uncover the truth, to spot a lie, to seek the truth. So Vitaly, can you say something?
Hello. Hello.
Hello. So we're ready to listen to you.
Okay. Talking about the story, it will be short, but I hope it will be quite interesting. Let me tell you about the experience I met when I bought a new mobile as gift last year in a big shopping mall. It was quite expensive mobile. So, I asked the salesman whether it was a brand new one. It was, he replied to me that it was never be used before, and I took it home, and but after trying for several times, and in the end, I found the equipment was not working as it claimed to be. For instance, one of while not working, it was the call was not clear after 1 minute speaking, and I understand that equipment not working, and it seems to be something wrong with this device, and therefore I telephoned the after sales department of this shop and tell them the quality. They sent me technical specialist to my place where I was. I mean about my workplace, and tested this device, and in the end that man admitted that my mobile was once sold to other before and returned afterwards. So I understand I bought a broken one and felt, and I understand that I was cheated and fooled by that salesman, obviously. And on top of that, I was really angry with that salesman because I thought and believe I trusted him, but he didn't tell me the truth. That crafty salesman really made me sick and angry. Moreover, I decided to turn that mobile immediately and made my mind that I would never buy anything from that shopping and include this salesman. Oh.
All right. So, can you suggest why people tell lies?
I suppose it's a difficult question for me, yeah, but I suppose it depends on different situation because lie has different types. I mean, one of lie helps in decide different question because in this situation and different situation, true is not right way, but there are different situations when you don't don't lie. Don't lie. For instance, it's very important. Don't lie your boss, and I would like to say on top of that, you don't like your family.
All right. So, should friends be honest with each other all the time? What do you think?
Can be, could be honest about a long time.
Yes,
Yes.
in the chat. Should friends be honest with each other all the time?
Okay, I think. Talking about this question, it's difficult because it depends of different situation. I mean about friends because friends refer. I suppose friends refer to family. But it's not differently, but I think so. And I think friends are as brothers. And of course, there are different situations when you have to say your friends lie because the truth in this situation will be impossible. And I afraid this situation talking about me, and absolutely I try to say true.
Okay, so, and the last question, do you think there are times when it is suitable to tell a small lie or a lie with good intentions?
Intentions, влияние, intentions, состояние, intentions.
Намерение. Намерение.
Okay, I see.
Намерение. Намереваться. Намерение.
Okay, I see. Talking about this question, I think to tell a small lie in different situation will be as a good intention, but because firstly lie have some true, but talking about a little lie, most side, most percent of saying, differently phrase and text. I think why there is a lie about 10%, and I think this does not influence important on saying. But there are different situations when, as I said, you don't say a lie. But really, it depends on situation.
Tell a lie.
Tell a lie. It depends on different situation. Really difficult question.
All right. Yes. Thank you, Vitaly. So now, Yelena, let's try to listen to your story. Okay, didn't work. I'll try to turn it on again. Okay, can you say something?
Hello? Can you hear?
Yes, we can hear you. So please tell us the story. Yes.
About something I want but couldn't do. Yes.
Right.
Okay. Sometimes I really don't have time for things that interest me. For example, last year I started learning Polish without any practical purpose, just for myself. I started to attend a Saturday course in our central library, but I lasted only 1 month, I think. First, my profession requires the work at weekends sometimes. Secondly, it turns out that the main home affairs in my house fall on Saturday. So in the end, I began to skip classes, and my study of the Polish faded. But this is not the most offensive case. I miss I missed my friend's wedding once. Without I was supposed to be a witness there. The day she got married, I had a terrible tooth pain and I had to go to the dentist. I was hoping to catch the wedding till last moment, but but my last hopes were killed by a traffic jam. That was really hurtful, and I'm very grateful to my friend who treated this situation with understanding.
Okay, so thank you. Part 3 questions. On what occasions should people come early?
Repeat. I again here once one word from two.
Okay, on what occasions should people come early?
Я правильно понимаю, в каких ситуациях люди должны приходить раньше, заранее?
Occasions should people come early? Right, absolutely, yes.
In occasion of wedding day, I know it. Well, it's so many examples. In an important meeting and in important, I don't know, so many examples, but they all go out from my head.
Okay. Well, you could mention like a job interview, a business meeting, a lesson, a lecture, a flight, a concert, an exam, or a theater performance. If you want to signal that you have value and appreciate other people, or you want to show others that they are that you are reliable and trustworthy, or you want to show other people that they can count on you, maybe sometimes you want to get the best seat. Okay, so the next question is, how do people manage their time? The question is in the chat.
Okay, some people write the list and plans. Some people, I don't know what they could do else.
Well, they can plan out their time and resources. They can integrate things they have to do into to-do lists, special to-do lists. Maybe they can make up plans for a day, for a week, for a month and year, or plan their day beforehand and then stick to their plans afterwards. Possible way is to break their tasks into many little steps, or they can focus on one part of the task at a time. They can prioritize tasks and projects based on their level of criticality, how critical they are. Okay, so the next one, is it important to manage your time efficiently?
Yes, it is certainly important, but no even person can do it. About myself again.
Okay. So what are some people spending their time on nowadays?
Как некоторые люди проводят время сейчас, наше время в смысле?
На что они тратят? What are some people spending their time on? On what are they spending their time nowadays?
There is so many things. For example, computer or other gadget, or with talking with friends, or reading the books, but it's not very often. We talk about wasted time, or any spending time.
No, just spending. Any.
Okay, most of them are working, and for example, go to theater after work, go to the cinema, meeting with their friends or with their family, or go to the walk, do what they want sometimes, and what they don't want.
Okay. So instead of go for a walk, you can also say stroll or saunter. All right. So thank you, Irina. I will turn off the microphone.